From NBC News, we have a story. Marquita Bradshaw scores upset win in Tennessee Democratic Senate primary. So, former U.S. Ambassador to Japan, Bill Hagerty, rode Trump's endorsement to win the contested Republican primary for Tennessee's open Senate seat. So, this is the Democratic primary, and this is a fairly safe Republican district seat. I'm sorry. This is for the entire state of Tennessee. And the last Democrat to win the seat was Al Gore in 1994. So a Democrat hasn't held this Tennessee Senate seat since 1994, and that was Al Gore. So just something to note. I mean, this is a 26-year Republican, stronghold here. It's an uphill battle for whoever the Democrat was, but running the establishment, typical standard Democrat, clearly wasn't working because 6 years straight of doing that got us nowhere. So let's just take a look at this. So this was really amazing. This is just out of nowhere, and this is such a feel-good story. But I mean, for me, it should feel good for anyone on the left. This is just working class victory here. I love it. So Marquita Bradshaw, I mean, she was on nobody's radar. You're lying if you said that if you didn't live in Tennessee, even if you lived in Tennessee, you probably didn't know who Marquita Bradshaw was. I mean, unless you're one of these voters. I mean, let's be real. So let's be real here. But like the vast majority of people in Tennessee probably didn't know who she was. Leading up to this thing. So she was nowhere on my radar. I follow a lot of these races. I try my best to contribute like a few dollars here and there to every real strong, like a left-wing progressive challenger, because I do believe in an inside-outside strategy. I don't think that electoral politics is the end-all be-all. I don't think that we can spend all of our time or even a majority of our time working in electoral politics. I think that if we're going to be effective, the majority of our time should be spent working to try to overthrow capitalism from the grassroots up and by creating or participating in democratic workplaces. And that's the real structural way to alter this system. And so that's my strategy. But I still believe in getting some help from the inside. Often, can make really monumental change, like providing Social Security, unemployment insurance. Those things really are left-wing successes and successes for working class people, and those can't happen without electoral politics. So let's just be real. We got to do a little bit of both, but I do agree with trying to spend the majority of your time in in more grassroots, more local, organizations, and really organizations that are based on democracy and building democracy. So that's just my take. But all right, let's get into this. So this is from August 6th, and out of Nashville, Tennessee. Memphis environmentalist, Black activist, and single mom Marquita Bradshaw won the Democratic primary for an open U.S. Senate seat in Tennessee on Thursday. Bradshaw defeated Nashville attorney and former Army helicopter pilot James Mackler, who had snagged an endorsement from the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee and others. Bradshaw will face former U.S. Ambassador to Japan Bill Hagerty, who defeated Nashville trauma surgeon Manny Sethi in the Republican primary. Bradshaw and Hagerty are seeking to succeed Republican Senator Lamar Alexander, who is retiring. Republicans have held both Senate seats in Tennessee since 1994. Remember, there are 2 Senate seats for every state. Every state has 2 Senate seats. The Senate positions are held for 6 years. So on a rotating basis, it's really confusing, but every 2 years, a set of Senate seats open up. And so it's different for every state. It's all over the place, and it's really hard to sort of keep track of. But suffice to say, every Senate position is held for 6 years. And then in offsetting years, I believe always there's a Senate, seat up. And, so every 2 to 4 years, the Senate seat becomes available in a state. And so there's what they call the senior senator and the junior senator. The junior senator just being whoever was the last person to come into power is considered the junior senator. They could be older than the person that is currently holding the seat, like AOC. If she holds, so that's it's not Senate, so it gets a little confusing there because you don't have a lot of young senators, but there are some fairly young senators. I don't know who's the youngest, but that can happen. So, I'm from Massachusetts. Our senior senator is Elizabeth Warren. Our junior senator is Ed Markey, and right now Ed Markey's running against shithead Joe Kennedy. So, so. This was amazing because let me see if they get into it in this. Okay, yeah. Let me see if they get into the money. Where the money? Okay. Oh, goodness. Okay, so I thought I had pulled it up in here. So they don't mention here, but I'm just going to mention it. I'm sorry. I don't have the article up. Maybe I can pull the article up in post and add a screenshot of this article. But the amazing thing about this victory for Marquita Bradshaw was the fact that her opponent got funded to the tune of $2.1 million. So this was the DSCC, Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, backed candidate. So that's the Chuck Schumer backed candidate, raised $2.1 million, establishment candidate, James Mackler, $2.1 million. Marquita Bradshaw raised $8,400 and she won a Senate seat with that, y'all. That's less than $10,000 to win a Senate seat. I mean, she spent like cents per vote. She got, let me pull up exactly how many votes she got here. But it was like something over 30,000. Let me see exactly how many votes she pulled. She got, yeah. So she got 99,800. So I can pull this up for y'all. Let me put this up for you. So here goes the Ballotpedia entry for Marquita. And you'll see here, let me just zoom in a little bit for you. Okay, so you can see the results here. And this is, so Marquita Bradshaw, Robin Kimbrough was another progressive Black woman who was running. And she came in second place, actually. So she also was severely outspent by James Mackler, who came in third place. So Marquita Bradshaw had nearly 100,000 votes, spending only $8,400. I didn't do the math, but that's something like 10 cents or less per vote. I mean, it's hard to contextualize. This just doesn't happen. But it can happen apparently. And this should be really encouraging on the left. This is an encouraging win right here. This is somebody who is a working class woman, working class Black woman, longtime environmentalist, fights for environmental justice, and really strong progressive. I'm gonna show you her policy page in a second, and you'll see her stances are very clear on policy. And so this was just out of nowhere, just stunning win. She was outspent by James Mackler 250 to 1. 250 to 1. Every dollar she spent, he spent 250 of them, and she beat him. So I mean, $8,400, that's not even enough to run a single commercial. I don't know. She's an organizer, and clearly she did this through some masterful grassroots organizing, and just like hats off to her. Can't actually take it off because of this, but hats off to Marquita Bradshaw. And this is, you go, sis. Like, you did it. You did the damn thing here. I'm loving it. I mean, and the fact that this dude that got $2.1 million and had all the establishment backing, corporate backing, that he came in third place, like, this just shows it was policy over profits, people over profits here. And, it's not like some other victories where, this person, where it's a safe Democratic seat and, that this person's going to actually wind up in the Senate. there's no guarantee that Marquita Bradshaw ends up in the Senate. It's actually very much an uphill climb for her. But I do believe that she has the best chance to win for a Democrat. I think that somebody with an actual populist message, a populist economic message like her has a real chance to win here. And so depending on how she carries out her campaign from this point forward, if she really hammers, and she does well with her policy, but if she really sticks to the populist rhetoric and populist economic message, I absolutely think that she could shock the world again in November. And so watch out for Marquita Bradshaw. And if you can, let's check out her policies, take a look at some of her policies, and then we'll look at how she's doing in her fundraising as well. So first, let's just let's see a little bit about her. So this is from her. So this is Marquita Bradshaw. Great shot of her. I love the glasses. And see, I'm a fellow bespectacled person. But meet Marquita Bradshaw. Marquita Bradshaw is a Tennessee native, a Memphian who has extensive experience in the environmental justice movement and an advocate for human rights. Marquita grew up in South Memphis and is an alumna of University of Memphis. She's a single mom who raised her son on a working class salary. Okay, so I mean, you can see this woman is, she's born, raised, she grew up in South Memphis, and clearly she's a product of, of her town and her city and her state. And so that's beautiful that she's, going to be, has a chance to serve in the community that made her, really. So, so now, you can see a couple of her, the things that she's been recognized for. Hardworking board member, environmental justice chair for the Tennessee chapter Sierra Club, International Coalition to Ban Depleted Uranium Weapons, African American Environmental Justice Network, Military Toxins Project, Youth Terminating Pollution, Mid-South Peace and Justice Center. She received the Dick Machow Environmental Justice Award from Sierra Club, Human Rights Award from Mid-South Peace and Justice Center, and the Vox Student Award Financial Literacy High School Pilot. So, these are just some of her accomplishments. And now I think, and now on the issues, I think is where, for me, she really stands out. So at the top of her page here, it just says policy should be common sense and ensure that hardworking families have healthy and safe places to live, learn, work, worship, and recreate. I am a leader that understands how to serve people out of crisis, moving forward into an age of prosperity, ingenuity, and creativity. Now, let me tell you, that little blurb right there is something that you might hear on just about any old standard politician page. But what really stands out is the actual issue she discusses below. So let's get into it here, because this is where, it's just about clear language. Ready? So Marquita Bradshaw on healthcare. I support Medicare for all. Boom. Easy, open and shut. Yes, no question. Easy answer right there. Do you support Medicare for all? Yes. No hemming and hawing. No, BS, Pete Buttigieg language about Medicare for all who want it or any garbage like that. This is, I support Medicare for all, not I support universal health care that could go about it in a million different ways, or I support single payer health care that could even be implemented in multiple different ways. No. I support Medicare for all. That's a very specific bill and a very specific policy. And I absolutely appreciate that. Is my number one issue, really, because I think it's the one that has the best chance of actually changing. That's the only reason it's my number one issue. My number two, but my real number one issue is democracy, extending democracy into the workplace. Workplace first. I think it needs to be extended into our housing and other places as well. But first place I think to extend it to is our workplace, where the majority of adults spend the majority of their waking lives, and teach people how to participate in democracy there. So that's my number one issue. But from my personal perspective, but not the issue that I think is going to be the first thing that actually gets changed in this world, unless we do it through grassroots means like what I'm essentially trying to do through this podcast, just building a democratic workplace. But Medicare for all is right up there, because I think it could really impact the lives. It has the best chance of passing and impacting the lives of working class people the most. And so that's why it's, at the top of my list, really. So I really appreciate when a politician doesn't beat around the bush or play games and use, sneaky language to avoid the direct question of, do you believe in this very specific policy of Medicare for all? And so I know that this is somebody that's going to vote the right way on this issue, and not just vote, but be a champion for these policies, on these issues. And so on education, she says, I support the right to a fully funded, high quality public education. So fully funded, high quality public education to me sounds like, she says, I am a lifelong, our society demands that we teach our students lifelong learning and skills that will translate to a modern economy. I am a lifelong proponent of funding our education system the same as we do our military in order to promote generations of meaningful success, regardless of background or location in Tennessee. So I love that. I think that, federal funding and fully funding public education. So that means that you're not paying any out-of-pocket costs for public education, I believe, is the path forward. And so if that's what, she's saying here, which it sounds to me like it is, then I am fully in support of that. And, I would love some stronger language on it. We can dig more into the specifics of it. I'll pull up that to see if she gets into any more of the specifics, but that, is an okay stance for me at face value. Environment, I support the Green New Deal. Just a side note, Marquita fixed that, that capitalized that N in Green New Deal. If you need somebody to work on your website, I am a software engineer by profession and wouldn't mind lending a little hand where I could. So I support the Green New Deal. That's clear language. She's an environmental, justice advocate, has done that for most of her working, adult life. And so this is my litmus test for somebody that's working as an claims to be in favor of environmental justice. Well, you have to support a Green New Deal because there's no other policy that lays out a system of environmental justice outside of the Green New Deal right now. There's simply nothing proposed. And so that is your baseline, the baseline for somebody that claims to be in support of left-wing environmental justice. So beautiful. I support the Green New Deal. Perfect. Economy, I support a living wage and workers' rights. Tennesseans are the hardest working people in this country, and their labor deserves to be recognized. This means fully and aggressively fighting for the federal recognition and implementation of a living wage, beginning at immediately increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Keyword, beginning. She does not end there. She does not say $15 is the end all be all. That is not where we need to stop. That is simply the baseline that we need right now. $15 an hour is about $30,000 a year. It's not that much. Most places that's barely covering your rent. So no, $15 an hour isn't going to be the end all be all. I honestly think that we need a new slogan of, fight for, like 20 by 2020, 20 in 2020, like $20 an hour. Like it's 2020 now. We've been fighting for 15 for the past 5 years, and we're still fighting for 15. Well, inflation has happened. And so we got to pay attention to that and look out for that. And so I think that this is a great baseline. And I love that she says beginning and immediately increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour. So beautiful. That's just perfect. On justice, she says, I support community policing and restorative justice. Restorative justice is a theory of justice that focuses on repairing the harm caused by the crime. It is best accomplished through cooperative processes that allow stakeholders to meet. So listen, I often do streams. I've got another project running. It's called Raised Fist Media. I do it with a buddy of mine. It should be a couple of us soon. But right now I'm doing these streams with Kwame Norville, and you'll see some streams on my channel. I have a whole playlist called Raised Fist Media where you can see some of those streams that we've done together. And he is a strong proponent for restorative justice. Kwame, if you're in the stream here at all, please, drop a chat and let people know you're here. And also feel free to mention anything or drop any links or anything. I think I've made it so that you can drop links, but maybe I don't have that ability unlocked for you yet, but I'll take care of that, whitelisting you for dropping links in the chat. And Yeah, so he's a major, he's become a real advocate for restorative justice. He believes in restorative justice. He's a strong proponent, I should say, of restorative justice. And so I'd love to hear his take on this. And just, I think that he would be strongly in support of Marquita for that reason. So she also talks about, overturning Citizens United, supporting universal background checks, and supporting DACA. So just again, my baselines for like, do you have decent baseline, human-oriented policies and working class oriented policies? And the answer is yes, 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 yes. And she's so far beyond what we would have gotten out of. So I would personally, I'd rather lose with her than to lose with the other guy, because we were definitely going to lose with James Mackler. That was a foregone conclusion. He was your standard fare Democrat. Nothing was going to change. It was not going to excite any new voters to come out. It was not going to alter the electorate in any way. Marquita Bradshaw absolutely changes the game. So just really fun news. So let's see. I just want to show one other thing, and then I'll get to the comments. And so just want to show you her fundraising, because remember what I said before for the entire course of the primary, Marquita Bradshaw raised $8,400 for the entirety of her primary. She raised $8,400. Let's see how she's doing on her fundraising now that she's won her primary. I wonder if she's raised more than $8,400 since her stunning upset victory. Let's see. Huh. Wow. So this, I'm going to refresh this too, because this might not even be the most up to date. Nope, it wasn't. Look at that. Boom. So Marquita Bradshaw, since Thursday, now it's Sunday right now. I'm recording this on Sunday. So Thursday, Friday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So within 4 days, okay, her primary was going on for how many months, she was running that primary. She collected $8,400. In 4 days, she has now raised over $150,000. And I swear, the other day I was on here and I donated. I donated like $20, I think, to Marquita Bradshaw. If you can, support candidates like this, because we need to show folks like this. This is a working class person sticking their necks out on the line to help other working class people. If we don't support this because of some like messed up thing or thought we have of like, oh, well, this is the right way to do it on the left and we have to do it this way, and we don't support people like this, well, we are just we're digging our own grave, and we're cannibalizing ourselves. We're eating our own tail, whatever you want to call it. But that's not solidarity, and that's not what it looks like. If you can afford it, support things like this. Drop her $1, $5. Honestly, just $1. It's a huge thing, because it just shows one more person supports you in the out there in the world. And so just having those numbers is huge. So, I did the calculation. Her average donation is actually it's over $50 right now. So she's getting larger donations, because I donated $20. I'm sure a lot of people just donated, small amounts, whatever they can afford. She's up to almost 3,000 donations now. She's going to have more donations than she had dollars donated to her primary. So she is just steamrolling now. And this is great. This is great because this gives her a real chance for success. And that's good. And this is the thing, like, now we're going to see about the vote blue no matter who people, if they come in and they show real support, because here's a strong left-wing Democratic candidate coming in here and now has a chance to face a Republican, incumbent, or sorry, not an incumbent, because this is even better, because you don't have to worry about the power of incumbency and running against the power of incumbency. This is kind of like the Mondaire Jones situation. Maybe like Mondaire Jones won that congressional race for an open seat in New York, and that came out of nowhere. And it's just you never know. And that, I think, was through a Democratic primary happened, and that's it's expected that he wins in the general, because it's a safe Democratic district. So you have the different dynamic. Of course, here it's a Republican and a Republican leaning district, but the policies that this woman espouses are popular even amongst Republicans. A lot of these policies are popular even amongst Republicans. And so I think that she could really stand if she emphasizes and runs on an economic populist message and carries that message forward. I think she has a real great shot to shock the world again in come November. So I'll be keeping an eye on her. I set up a recurring donation actually to her for $20 a month for the next 3 months. So I just set that up through like ActBlue. You can like set it up to like, sorry. So yeah, count me in for like 12 months. You can like change this to how many months, like you can say like 3 months and stuff. And like, so I did a 3-month donation for $20 or whatever. So, you know, just try, if you can, try to throw her $1 or $2 or $5 or $10 or whatever you can afford to just say, hey, to signal to other working class people that we will support you. If you stick your neck out on the lines for us, we will stick our necks out on the line for you, and we will do whatever we can to support you, since you're trying to do whatever you can to support us. So I just think that's, a great way to show your support. And if you can volunteer, make a phone call or two for her, or 100 or 1,000. And that would be even better. Honestly, volunteers are way more effective than campaign donations. So if you can volunteer, that's worth more than any dollars you can contribute, most likely. So if that's something that you can do, and I've done that, you can do it from any state. Usually she'll have the help and support that she needs. She'll get the help to get like a dialer and stuff set up so that you can make calls for her remotely. And that's something, again, I'm going to try to do some live streams of me doing some calls for some candidates. Yes, I'm a socialist and, try to be revolutionary where I can be. But some of this, where I do believe in the inside outside electoral politics strategy, and think that we got to work sometimes within the system to make some of these little impactful changes. Not the way, we're not going to overthrow the system through the system, but we can definitely make working class people's lives better through changes in the system. And we can help to push for those changes without taking away all of our efforts and distracting from efforts that we're putting into better, more grassroots democratic systems. And so like things like Cooperation Jackson and folks like that, they don't have to do anything in electoral politics if they don't want, because they're sitting there building up the real systems of change to overthrow capitalism from the ground up. Y'all folks, if they can, great. If they go out and they vote, and they should, and honestly, they've done stuff to help electoral politics in their district, because they know that you need the help of, the capitalists all have the government helping them out. Look what just happened. Capitalism came in, the government came in and bailed out capitalism once again. It did it in 2008. It did it in 2001 during the dot-com crisis, and it did it now in 2020. So the government will step in to save capitalism over and over again. We need a government that will step in to save socialism, save democracy in favor of the people. So I thought this was an awesome story. I'm super excited by Marquita's win. I think that it's just another, great sign on the left. This isn't a guaranteed, when Cori Bush upsets Lacey Clay in Missouri 1st District, that's a safe Democratic district. When she wins there in the primary, she's in Congress. We already know. Marquita Bradshaw still has a ways to go. She has to win she has to win the general election. I think she has a real shot to do it. She has a much better shot than James Mackler ever had, who I didn't give a damn about and wouldn't have paid a damn lick of attention to, wouldn't have donated my $20 as a working class person in another state. I damn sure wasn't giving $1 or a dime to James Mackler, but I'll happily give, $60 if I can. And if I see anything else pop out and I have a couple extra bucks, and they do a good mailer, and I see her step up on an issue or something like that, I'll drop another few dollars, whatever I can. If I can afford it, I do what I can to try to contribute, because, these things can have impacts on working class people's lives. And I want to do what I can to do that. I'm getting a weird feeling of deja vu right now on the stream. So just weirdness, just letting you know, weird feeling of deja vu, like all of this, the Bradshaw, everything, just deja vu, weird. Thanks for watching Radical Democracy Podcast. I'm your host, Kamali Rose. Please like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, and if it doesn't bother you, hit that bell below to receive notifications whenever we go live or launch a new video. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you can afford it, do me a huge favor and head over to my Patreon at patreon.com/radicaldemocracy and throw me a few bucks. Whatever you can afford, it goes a long way, and I will greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel to continue to exist and to grow. And I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon. All right. Peace. All right, that was a good one. That one's it.